Welcome to the Danny Clinkscale Reasonably Irreverent podcast. Insightful and witty commentary, probing interviews, and detours from the beaten path.
Every once in a while, we have to bring out the big dog.
Yeah.
Oh, God help us. It's time for Danny Unleashed. Sponsored by Easton Roofing, where integrity matters. Go to eastonroofing.com for more.
Yes, Easton Roofing, the folks that have been on my roof, been on Danny's roof as well. Give you what one person said. Easton Roofing, awesome. Great crew, awesome quality, and work was completed in amazing, timely manner. Thank you for all the hard work. The roof is beautiful. You can check that out at eastonroofing.com. Estimates, they're always free. Suggestions built on integrity. Let Easton Roofing educate you about every possible roofing solution for your home or business. It's not about Easton Roofing. It's about your specific need. Easton Roofing is an Angie's List Super Service Award winner. Call Easton today at 913-257-5426. See him online at eastonroofing.com. Getting you back to business faster, getting you back to life faster. That's Easton Roofing. Integrity matters. Danny, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing very well. Doors open here. Fresh air coming in. Sunshine's starting to wane a little bit, but still, it's been a nice day and a lot of stuff going on at DannyClinkscale.com. I just want to, so I don't forget during the course of the show, today's Kansas City Profiles, presented by Easton Roofing, is Billy Brimblecom Jr., who is a drummer from the Kansas City area. And he lost his leg to cancer in 2005, and he started the Steps of Faith Foundation, which provides prosthetics for other people who have similar situations to his, and their biggest fundraiser, something that I think people are probably familiar with. He's good friends with Jason Sudeikis, so they do Thunder Gong every year now.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
He's a cool guy. He's got a great story, great musician, fun guy to talk to, so... you can check that out at DannyClinkscale.com and wherever your favorite podcasts reside.
So basically, he's everything I'm not. He's got a great story. He's talented musician.
Right.
I got nothing.
And he, obviously plays the drums now with a prosthetic leg and learned
that is awesome.
And he also, in between the time before he got his prosthesis, I believe is the way it's the singular of it. He actually played his hi-hat with his hand, or some kind of an implement with his hand.
Oh, wow.
So Curtis, as a drummer, would understand that more than if you listen to the podcast.
That's hard to do when your other hand generally has a stick in it. I mean, that's not easy to do.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
I'm asking this seriously. Was the Def Leppard drummer an inspiration at all? And...
I didn't really talk to him about that. I kind of forgot
Rick
it.
Allen?
That would be a very interesting conversation. We talked a little bit. Yeah, that would have been.
Do it in part two, Danny.
Yeah, that would have been a good thing. It was a long conversation, so we almost could have made it part two. And he has a great story, and we didn't even get into some of the things that are there. So each and every Friday we get great stories, but this is an especially great one, and really, really a great cause. The healthcare system is obviously a challenge for a lot of people, but a lot of times these things, prosthetics, aren't covered, or people don't have proper insurance, that will cover these really, really expensive things, and and they help out hundreds of people who are in that situation. So it's a great conversation, and it's another reason that it puts a smile on my face today to be able to bring people conversations like that are uplifting and enjoyable.
Yeah, prosthetics aren't covered.
But providing prosthetics for somebody else is an uplifting story, that's for sure.
Hell yes, it is.
Yeah.
It absolutely is. But I'm just marveling at the
why it isn't.
Yeah.
Well, I think most of the time, at least, it's partially covered. But a lot of times, for instance, the musicians, a lot of times are people, are self-employed people who maybe don't have great health care.
Right.
So
right, exactly.
there's a lot of challenges there. But anyway, let's talk some GOAT. Let's talk some sports, because
yes.
On Thursday, I was doing a podcast, and I hadn't heard this particular thought, and I said it, and I thought, boy, I'm really some kind of a great, smart guy here for thinking about this when nobody else was thinking about it, because I said, you know what? If Patrick Mahomes doesn't win this game, I think he's got little chance of being the GOAT. And literally subsequent to that, Tony Romo said it. Sam Mellinger wrote a column about it. I'm like, that was my idea.
I had it first.
Are you talking about the Bills game, or are you talking about this game against the Bucs?
This game against the Bucs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it would just be such a mountain to climb, and I think it's going to be a moot point because I think the Chiefs are going to win. But Brady would have won 2 title games against Mahomes, AFC and a Super Bowl. He'd be up to 7. Mahomes would only have 1. That's a mighty mountain there. And while I think Mahomes could get to the point where most people would sort of point to him like a lot of people say, well, Tiger Woods is the greatest golfer who has ever lived, but the most accomplished golfer who ever lived is Jack Nicklaus. It's that kind of it'll be that kind of argument. But to be the GOAT, I think he's going to win the game.
I think you're right, because he's for the point you said that they squared off in the AFC Championship game and he didn't win. Granted, not
right. He wasn't like he was some kind of chump in the game, but
yeah. And if D Ford could line up on side, then he would have won that game, but he didn't, and so it goes to Brady, and now he's getting a second crack at him. I'm with you. It's like I love the idea of just like, because I think it helps you put like we're doing right now, put into historical perspective exactly what's going on right now, and I think that's a great point. Like, if Mahomes is to have more success, great, he can add to his resume, but he's probably never going to get another shot against Brady of any kind. Right? Not even a regular season game, unless Brady's going to play till he's 47. They'd get him in a regular season game in 4 years, assuming he stays with the Bucs. That's when they'll play the Bucs in the regular season again. And so,
which would mean nothing.
Right?
You have to lose them to him twice in the playoffs.
And each team would have to make it to the Super Bowl for another.
Right.
So yeah, this is likely the last high-level meeting between the two. And now, if Mahomes gets it, he's. It's still going to be tough, but he's got a good step along the way.
Real quick,
and the final marker against Brady.
Real quick, Chiefs have just released their injury report from today. L'Jarius Sneed limited in practice. Eric Fisher, Le'Veon Bell, Willie Gay, and Sammy Watkins did not practice. A lot of
Sammy
that was
Watkins?
Yeah. I mean, we didn't expect Fisher and Willie Gay to practice. Bell and Watkins is a name that
well, they're
continuing to wait for him.
Didn't Reed say? Let me check my notes here. Hang on. Then somebody either lied or somebody's backed up.
Well, it's
Andy Reid on Thursday said Eric Fisher the only non-practice.
Yeah, I remember
now
him
Willie Gay's ruled out of the game already. There's a report out there that's the deal, and then Sammy Watkins didn't practice and Le'Veon Bell didn't practice.
Yeah, today.
So Andy Reid was completely full of it on that statement on Thursday.
I don't ever take anything Andy Reid. Frankly, I don't take much of anything the Chiefs say about injuries seriously. I think their history in expressing these things has been horrendous. I mean, they have the right to do it, but especially Andy Reid, he gets up there and hems and haws, and won't say that the sky is blue as far as injuries are concerned.
Everybody practiced. Oh, so Schwartz is back? Well, no, he didn't practice.
Well, of course he didn't.
Okay, so Gay's going? No, well, he didn't go. Like, you literally, and here's the problem, and you know what they've created? And again, I root for the Chiefs, but I'm just telling you, like, one of the things that's frustrating, if you're wanting to actually know what's going on, is they've created this situation where you only get one crack at it in the Zoom, right? Because he does 8 minutes, and then he's gone. Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, other coaches do 30. But so you get one question. Are you going to burn your question on?
Practice, yeah.
Watkins, Gay, Bell, Schwartz,
right?
Fisher. Did any of these players practice, and were they full or partial? And then that's it. You're not going to. If you're working on a story about L'Jarius Sneed, you're not going to get a question about L'Jarius Sneed, and you're at the mercy of everybody else.
And also, no matter what, he's making progress. Well, of course, if they're not going to die, then I guess they're making progress.
Hope he's not getting worse.
But
yeah, we've been out there stepping on Willie Gay Jr.'s knee. Now he's backing up. I mean, if guys had just quit kicking him in the knee, I think it'd really help. But
we decided to go full bore, even though the doctors told us not to, and he had a setback.
Yeah, that's how he does things.
Anyway, I just literally wait till the inactives come out. I mean, it's about all. That's the only real real truth.
They can't. The Wednesday, Thursday, Friday injury report leading up to the game is real. They don't get to screw around with that. So he may not tell us anything on Wednesday, and then at like 5 it comes out that so-and-so was limited and so-and-so was limited, right? When they put that thing out, that has to be real.
Well, it has to be real, or you maybe eat the fine.
Have we seen one of those that, like,
I can't
have they popped up somebody who was supposed to go and then –
I don't know. I don't remember. Like I said, I almost completely dismiss it, so I guess I'm not paying strict attention because I'm like, well – Eric Berry was day-to-day for a whole season.
We haven't heard day-to-day yet. That's been encouraging on some guys. As soon as they're day-to-day, they're done, right?
Yeah. When they're literally day-to-day.
He's literally day-to-day, done for the year.
Then they might play one more game and then disappear to the Himalayas or something.
Might play 2 downs and then do nothing.
I was told by people that nobody knows where Eric Berry is. That I don't know about now, but like back when it was like, oh, is he going to come back or is he not? Are the Chiefs going to cut him or what? Like nobody knew where he was.
Good for him.
I agree, and I think it shows that the man had checked out that last year. I mean, I think football and cancer and everything else he'd been through had just beat the hell out of him. I hope he's got peace and happiness wherever he is and a boatload of money to do whatever he wants. I mean, listen, I hope that for everybody, right?
As somebody who disappeared into the Black Hills for 2 weeks without telling anybody, I can't understand that in any way, shape, or form.
I mean, Eric Berry even said, what was the term he used? Was it in my spirit? My spirit didn't feel it or whatever it was. And then he kind of backed up what he said by just disappearing for a while. So I guess we shouldn't have been surprised. Not that we were.
But, Danny, back to your point about being the GOAT, needing to win this game, get this head-to-head win against Tom Brady if he wants to be the GOAT. Like, what else is at stake? For Mahomes, for Reed, for the Chiefs? Like, I think being a 3-time Super Bowl champion, the Chiefs would be, what did we say, Curtis, the 11th franchise?
Let me see.
With 3 or more?
The book up here.
Yeah, I don't think that the third for the franchise is that big a deal.
I do.
I think that what for these guys starting to make sure you don't have it hanging over your head that you just only have one. Not that only having one, it's better than none, that's for sure. So you cross that off, then really there's kind of no pressure on you for a while. You can freewheel it. And
well, I mean,
I think they feel like, and also I feel like, how many times, and maybe it'll be more, but how many times are you for sure 100% supposed to be the best team in football? Absolutely, positively supposed to be the best team in football. And if you go out there as that team and lose, it's disappointing. It's like like the 16-0 Patriots.
A couple of things. First of all, almost never, because the Bills were better than this team last week, according to many. I mean, the pregame picks, didn't half of them have the Bills and half of them have the Chiefs?
Yep.
So, I mean, to your point, I mean, I would agree with you. I think you and I would say that the Chiefs were absolutely the best team from day one all the way to today, and that has never changed. But narratives, that's boring,
Yeah, I think a lot of people that was just phony baloney. If some of those people who on a television screen were putting that up, if they had to plunk down 100 GER on the game, I think they would have picked the Chiefs. Sorry.
Okay. Although I don't think people like to have a reputation of being wrong. So, I think they actually, I think they would just bail on it. But if you're like, you have to bet this, where are you going?
Right. You have to.
I see what you're saying. But, so there's that, number one. But I think you make an excellent point. Like, in every one of Brady's 6 championships, were they the best team? No. I mean, in 14, he was supposed to be done. In the middle of the year, they were cooked, right? And then he went on to win it that year. I think you make a great point, and it's one of the reasons why. But here's so there's the what people think, but then there's reality, right? Which is whatever we say is reality.
Exactly.
No, but okay, think it through. I think 3 is big for the Chiefs.
They'd be the 10th.
I think getting a third one is huge.
The 10th franchise to do it.
10th? I thought it was. Are you sure?
Packers, Giants, Steelers, 49ers, Cowboys, Raiders, Washington, New England, Denver.
That's why I guess
Dolphins don't have 3.
I guess that's why I don't think of that as that big, because that's not a select club. I mean, it's about a third of the teams.
It's less than a third.
Right,
and
slightly less.
But right now you're in the
bottom two-thirds.
Yeah,
climb up into that top shelf.
All right, we just it's just
you go from being middle of the pack to being top third. I think that's big. Now, would 4 be bigger? Yeah. What does it get to at 4, Curtis?
Packers, Giants, Steelers, 49ers, Cowboys, Patriots. That's it. That's what, 5? No, 6.
6, I think. And then what is 5?
Just the
Steelers, Cowboys,
Steelers,
Niners?
49ers, Cowboys, and Patriots. 4.
Okay. So 5's a big one.
Yeah.
Right. That'll be bigger, but you can't get to 5 without 3.
Hey, every Super Bowl you win is big. Okay,
it is.
Right. So there's that. But I think for this group of players, going back to back, which nobody's done in forever, that's a big deal. I mean, that's been shown historically. No matter how good you are, consistent you are in the playoffs every year, blah blah blah. Patriots, whatever. Nobody in almost 20 years has gone back to back.
And the only back to backs, Curtis, are what? Packers, Steelers,
Dolphins,
Niners, Dolphins, Broncos, Pats.
Yeah.
6 of them, so you'd be in a club of 7.
One of them did it twice.
Yeah, you'd be in a club of 7, so I think that's significant. Here's the other thing that I think is significant. Like this team, you were kind of talking about like what they think. I don't care what they think. I'm talking about from a historical perspective. They think they're going to be in it every year, right? We hear how many players do we hear always? Oh man, I got the Super Bowl in my 3rd year. I thought, well, we're going to be there every year. And then like Russell Wilson hasn't been back, right? Aaron Rodgers hadn't been back. So that's why when you get an opportunity to get there, you need to get there. And then once you get there, you need to win because you got so much work to do just to get back to this point that you're at right now. But I also know that it's going to be harder when Patrick Mahomes' contract kicks in. And they don't think about it that way. And everyone's like, oh, Brett Veach, he's got everybody signed. All right, well, I mean, it's math. You're not going to have as much room.
Oh, yeah.
Now, later in his contract, it'll ease up because, the cap will have grown. But at that point, you're going to have to renegotiate. So it's so many of the Super Bowls are won by quarterbacks on their first contract, which I know he signed his second one, but it's $7 million. This is still the first contract number. I think maybe $10 million counted on the signing bonus, so maybe $17 million on it this year. And then next year he's at 23 or something, his 5th-year option number, plus the prorated portion of the signing bonus. And so, that's really the last year, but he gets a lot more expensive next year, $14 million more expensive next year. And so it's going to be harder after that. So you want to cash as many times as you can when he's cheap.
Oh, for sure. I mean, to me, an easy example from recently is just Seattle. They had the Legion of Boom, which turned into, the Legion of Doom for them in the secondary. They just the team was dismantled. They're still good, but they're not good enough to make the Super Bowl. And the Chiefs are going to be a good team as long as Patrick Mahomes is upright. Okay, I don't see Patrick Mahomes presiding over a 5-11 or 6-10.
So he'll never be what Deshaun Watson was this year.
I don't think so. No,
I don't either.
But that doesn't mean you're Super Bowl caliber. That doesn't mean you get the bye if there's going to continue to be one. I assume they're never going to go backwards and that we're going to have 7 playoff teams every year. So there'll only be one bye. But, going out on the road, Patriots never had that much great success going out on the road in their time as a dynasty. They usually won it when they had that number 1 seed and played the games at home. I think they only lost, one significant.
They lost twice at home, and they lost in a wild card game, then they lost in a divisional playoff to the Jets.
Right. They lost to the Ravens once.
They lost to the Ravens in a conference championship game.
Right.
They lost to the Ravens in a wild card game, too, didn't they?
Yeah. Yeah, in 2009. And they won a couple of conference championship games on the road, 2001, 2004, here.
Right.
Yeah.
But maybe I'm not exactly right. But
they had a lot of home games in that first round. They lived at home in the divisional playoffs, and they won almost every year. So being at home certainly helps, at least in one round.
Absolutely, and it's going to help. This is an odd year. It's going to help more when you got a stadium full of. Just think about next year. To cross our fingers, that the stadiums are full and packed. the same players are going to be out there, and they're going to be like, what the hell is this? I can't hear a damn thing.
Yeah.
They just played a whole season where it was quiet.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. So, but just on the theme of what's at stake, how about for Andy Reid?
Oh, I think he got the monkey off his back, so that's great. But backing it up, and he starts to, Andy Reid is now with the one victory and all the wins he has, the one Super Bowl victory, and all these playoff appearances, et cetera. And now he's moved into another category, and he's one of the great coaches in the NFL history. But it's a fairly large list right now. Starts to tick off another championship. He really starts to, and he's not old, so I think he's going to coach for still a little while.
I think he's the, and then this isn't how he thinks, but if he's going to go down as the best ever, or the Mount Rushmore, get into the top 4, he needs this one, because I don't think you can get there with just one, right? You get multiples, you get back-to-backs. I think there's a lot for Andy Reid's mark on history to be gained right here.
Right, and the other part of it is, I'm surprised they're not a bigger favorite, but they are the favorite. And if they say they went out and lost the way that the Patriots and Tom Brady did those 2 times to the Giants by not scoring points when you were, supposed to be a high-powered offense.
10
what if
and
the Chiefs
17.
went out and scored, 17 in this game and lost? And he's the offensive coach.
Or 3, like Sean McVay and the Rams did.
Right.
I mean, how much shine did that take off him? Not just losing, but the fact that he lost, 13-3?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that was giant in taking him down a peg. No, I agree with you, and I think for Reid, he's going to get as much success here at the end with a great quarterback, that he's the guy that probably figures to have the shortest career left. So
well, I think that the impact of the Super Bowl can be summed up in 2 words: Eli Manning, who is going to waltz into the Hall of Fame with a career that otherwise wouldn't have come close to qualifying.
Joe Namath.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's true too.
Same city.
Oh, Troy Aikman.
Yeah.
Go look at Troy Aikman's numbers.
Yeah, it's a lot of guys just kind of hanging around him, but he has those 3 rings on his finger, so he's a different person.
Although I think Troy Aikman could have been more of a gunslinger. I think he was capable of it.
Just didn't need to.
I just don't think he needed to.
I disagree.
I think he was. I think he had the goods to be somebody.
I think he had the goods to put up Hall of Fame numbers, but he didn't.
Right. That's what I'm saying. I think that they, they had a fantastic running back. So why not use him? And it was a different time. So
Andy Reid, there really isn't any precedent for him last year as far as the change in the status of his career and how it's looked. I mean, some people they're that room of greatness, and some people are going to go through one door and they get closer and closer to the top. He kind of went in a different door because everything else was there. He was just waiting. I got everything else. And as soon as he won, he jumped into the small room. He was at the adults table immediately. He didn't have to work his way there. No one else. I mean, Bill Cowher was his 14th year. Andy Reid went well past that, getting to that point. So
I'll say again, if Belichick, if what he wanted was to be known as the greatest coach in football history, then he should have retired and not coached this year. Because every year that he sucks without Brady is going to diminish his standing. Mm-hmm. And every championship that Reid wins, I believe, with Patrick Mahomes, validates what he did before.
Yes.
It makes all that great. His pre-Mahomes career goes from being the guy who can't manage the clock and can't manage the game and all that crap, becomes the look at how great he was when he didn't have the Hall of Famer. All that gets celebrated. It goes from being a negative to being a positive, and Bill Belichick's coming back to the pack. I think Andy Reid is in play to be known as the best coach of all time. And he's got a lot of work to do.
I think he'd have to win at least 3.
Oh, yes, I agree. And so getting this one, when his quarterback's about to get more expensive again, I fall back on that, is giant. So I think there's a lot of legacies. The ceilings on a lot of legacies are at stake.
No question. Yeah. But I think the biggest story is Mahomes versus Brady. So.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll take a break more with Danny Klingscale. It's Danny Unleashed, brought to you by our friends at Easton Roofing. You can call Easton Roofing today. You got a roofing issue? Call 913-257-5426. No payment is collected until you're 100% satisfied. Easton Roofing at 913-257-5426. Online at eastonroofing.com.
More of Danny's Reasonably Irreverent podcast after this.
I'm here with Joe Spiker, owner of Easton Roofing, and boy, we had to negotiate a million things in 2020, but Easton Roofing navigated them all. As 2021 rolls out, what should we expect this coming storm season?
Well, Danny, it'll be the same thing as it is every year. The storms come, and you've got the guys out knocking on doors, offering quote-unquote free inspections. Be wary as a homeowner. If somebody's knocking on your door, they probably need the work, and if they need the work that bad, they may be willing to do something untoward to get it. So if somebody knocks on your door, says they want to give you a free inspection, just tell them have a great day and give us a call. We'll come out for free and give you a good, honest opinion as to whether or not you need to do anything at all with your roof.
And what's the best way to get in touch with Easton Roofing?
You can always find us online at eastonroofing.com or give us a call at 913-257-5426.
Easton Roofing. Integrity matters.
All right, the Joe's Kansas City Barbecue burnt end of the hour answer. Who was the opponent the last time Kansas scored fewer than 60 points at Allen Fieldhouse and won? And no, it wasn't TCU. Don't be a wiener, people on Twitter. I mean, before last night. I think that was implied.
Before last night, what?
Who was the opponent the last time Kansas scored fewer than 60 points at Allen Fieldhouse and won?
Oh, boy.
No clue. Not even going to.
West Virginia maybe come in and drag him into a rock fight?
I don't think he's ever won there.
Todd Lebo says he was there.
Thank you. Sorry about that.
So,
Oklahoma?
I would have to lean forward in my chair to press the mic button.
That's all right. Oklahoma, February 5th, 2006. The Jayhawks won 59-58. I was looking last night. Since that 83 debacle team, 13 times Kansas has scored fewer than 60 points at Allen Fieldhouse. Amazingly, they're 6-7 to their credit. They're 6-7 in those games.
And do you know, an additional question, who called all the games of that miserable 82-83 season?
I think I have a pretty good idea.
Yeah.
Would that be you and your Barry Gibb beard?
That would be me, yes, and my Barry Gibb beard back then, for sure. We actually split the games when one person would do one half and one person would do the other.
By the way, guess what team has held KU to the lowest point total since then at Allen Fieldhouse? This I won't even let you. Cal State Long Beach. 64-49. How about this? January 25th, 1993. That was a Final Four team. And wow. Cal State Long Beach held them to 49 at Allen Fieldhouse. That game does not fit in with anything else on that team.
No, especially since it's a Roy Williams team. Which even if they lose, they usually score some points.
Yeah,
right. By the way, Joe's Kansas City Barbecue, what we were playing for, you can get it tonight. The app is the easiest way to order it. You want to get some curbside to go. Joe's Kansas City Barbecue's app is absolutely the best in the business. Number one fries, great barbecue, best barbecue around. Voted number one in so many different categories. Get you some Joe's tonight, making a great Friday night for the entire family. Joe's Kansas City Barbecue. Go to joeskc.com to send it anywhere in the country as well. By the way, I gotta get some Joe's to Sal. I said I would hook him up, even though he lost.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta get Joe. I gotta get Sal.
Yeah, with each bite, he'd have to remember the loss.
But it would be assuaged by the wonderful flavor,
yes,
though. It'd be like,
it's true.
Oh, this is so good. Yeah, but we
another
lost.
Bite of
this
this
is so
Kansas
good.
City barbecue. It's good, but real good.
To continue the discussion on the Chiefs, one thing that I think is of note, think about how different this team could be next year, right? It doesn't feel like it, but there are cap situations. And we know Chris Jones is going to be back, and Tyreek Hill is going to be back, and Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes. But think about, are you really going to go a 31, or what was Schwartz going to be 32?
Let me see.
He'll be 32, and I think Fisher's will be 31. But
yeah, he'll turn 31 late in the season. I think he just turned 30. Isn't that what we said the other day, Curtis?
I think so. Schwartz, June 8th, 89. So, yeah, he'll be 32 before the season begins.
So, a 32-year-old tackle with a bad back?
No, I can see them walking away or him walking away.
And Fisher just turned 30.
A 30-year-old tackle with a bum Achilles that's probably not going to play till what? The final quarter of the season at best?
I bet that I would bet that he would be on the team. Schwartz,
let me see here.
I'll say maybe more likely no, either by his own decision or by the Chiefs.
Someone noted, and it may have been Tommy Moe, that Derek Johnson had that happen late and came back.
He did, and then he blew the other one, and then that was it. He was done.
Yeah.
And that's what happens a lot. I got a buddy who played, college basketball, and he blew one, and then a year later he blew. He came back, and about a year after he came back, he wasn't playing. This is when he's an older man. He blew the other one. Now, like usually, if you blow one, you blow the other one. And so that's exactly what happened to Derek Johnson. He came back, but I don't think he was ever the same. Do you?
Didn't seem to be. No,
he still made those occasional flash,
just
running
less
plays.
Often. I mean, it was forward progress, but he did dislodge the ball from Mariota in that playoff game. But those plays were
I'm not saying he sucked.
Yeah,
I'm just saying he wasn't the same
guy.
Yeah,
no. He didn't. That didn't happen nearly as often as it did before.
And also, you combine the injury with the fact that he was getting older anyway.
Agreed.
And quickness was a big.
I love Derek Johnson, one of my favorite Chiefs of all time.
Yeah.
I mean,
great guy.
That's fantastic. But so this is what I'm getting at. Like Mitchell Schwartz, bad back, has one more year on his deal. He's been kind of adding on a year each year. Next year, he's due to count $10 million. He's only $3.8 to cut. So you can save $6.255 to be precise. Is how much you can save if you walk away from him. Eric Fisher, going into the final year of his deal as well, counts $15.2 million against the cap. He's $3.2 if you cut him. So there's $12 million savings there.
Wouldn't they have to pay him some money because he's injured?
That's interesting.
I mean, I don't think they can just cut him, can they? I know the NFL's ruthless, but I mean, actively still injured.
No, I think when you reach an injury settlement, well,
I would think they'd have to reach an injury settlement if the guy was injured playing football, and then he is going to recover, could play, maybe that season. I don't know.
That's a good point.
Maybe you can cut him, but it sounds ruthless even by NFL standards to me.
That's a good point. I think he'd have an injury grievance, and
right.
Yeah, you're right. He may have guaranteed that he's going to get paid. Well, then what do you do with him? Do you try to lessen the cap blow and extend him?
You might do that. It just depends on what he's an athletic guy for a lineman. Not that linemen aren't athletes. Don't get me wrong, but I mean his athleticism is a big part of his game. Maybe they feel like that will be diminished, but also that increases the likelihood that maybe you recover better. But they're interesting questions to raise, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, listen, there are a lot of guys that are not going to be on this roster next year.
But I think when you ticked off those names, though, I think most of the fans went, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
If the rest of the team's different, I could care less. We still have Travis. We still have Tyreek. We still have Mahomes.
I agree, but you don't have a guard, a center, or a guard.
Oh, I'm not saying it doesn't make an impact football-wise. What I'm saying is I think the fans out there are saying, well, we got the core. Who cares? But
and I think there's something to it. I do think the core is together. When does the core start getting old? And I think right now these tackles are part of the core, and they're getting old.
Right. I think one of the things you have to think about is probably Travis Kelce, because he still plays with such great athleticism. He plays a different game at his age than like Gronk did. Although Gronk, even at his age, I mean, he looked pretty damn good on that screen pass the other day, rumbling down the field. I'll say that. But
he doesn't come out of a curl route, catch it, and spin away from a corner and leave him in the dust like Kelce does every week.
Now, that doesn't mean that Kelce can't change his game and post up more and do all those things. He's a big guy. But, I mean, a big part of what he does is the fact that he has the type of skills you just delineated there.
Yeah, I hear you. And but I do think, like losing the tackles, like, okay, we know we got some work to do on the interior part of the offensive line.
Well,
right? But now when if you've got to go get 5 offensive linemen.
Well, a big part of, I think, people's attitude toward it, and maybe the Chiefs too, is say they go out and, Mahomes gets sacked 5 times and he's harassed all day long and they lose. Or even they, somehow manage to win the game and he's under duress all day long. Then maybe they'd be more inclined either to bring them back or maybe they feel like it's more of a worry. But, I don't know if that's going to happen. I don't think, has Mahomes ever been sacked 5 times? I guess maybe. Maybe Eagles, I can think of one game, maybe.
In Andy Reid's tenure, when he was up and running at his best with the Eagles, I can remember people in the Chiefs organization saying, we have to get to be more like the Eagles and Steelers. The Eagles are never a year late in getting rid of a guy. Sometimes they're a year early in getting rid of a guy, but they're never a year late.
And the Patriots are like that, too.
And not that there aren't old guys on those rosters. They're just not guys that you're tied up in with huge contracts. And so when they're hurt, there's like a big chunk of your cap sitting off to the side. And they've already made sure that they're going to be tied up in an older Travis Kelce. That ship has sailed.
Right.
They did that. They've got to make a decision on Tyrann Mathieu. Right. I expect him to be renegotiated and bring his number down. I expect there's 4 key guys that their roster bonus will be converted to signing bonus, and that'll allow him to prorate it out. Chris Jones, Travis Kelce, Patrick Mahomes, and there's one more out there. I'm forgetting. I'm blanking on who it is. But anyway, that has a roster bonus that they can convert. But, if Frank Clark wants to hang around, he might need to renegotiate. And he's already done it once. But I don't know that you can have $19 million in Tyrann Mathieu.
Well, I don't know if you can have the kind of money tied up you have in Frank Clark if he's going to play like he's played.
Well, he's more to cut than keep. So
Right.
If he says, I'm not renegotiating, you're stuck. And if that's the case, then you can eject the following year. And I think you save a little bit. It's still a big hit, but it's
Right.
less than he is. And I think that's the expectation right now, based upon how he's played this year, that he'll have one more year, and then that's it.
Well, yes, unless he, decides that next season is, I'm not going to say more important to him. I'm not saying he's not trying, but there's a difference between, we talked about it with the young, desperate running backs. Frank Clark has gotten paid. He's got his ring. There's a difference between just absolutely, I think Chris Jones is in that category too. I don't think that you're talking about relentless players like, an Aaron Donald who seems to, want to
Chris
sack
Jones
the
pretty
quarterback
good.
No, I mean, he's fine. He's really good. He can be the most disruptive player on the field. Tyrann Mathieu maybe is the most impactful at his best on the field for the Chiefs defense. But I think Chris Jones will take the odd play off. I do.
I think, Grundy's point that defensive linemen just can't bring it every single play is fair. I think that's, why they rotate defensive linemen and get them out of there. I think Chris Jones has brought it as many plays or more this year than ever before. I think the sack numbers aren't there, but I think his pressures and the problems he causes are there. Listen, I think there's an opportunity for the D-line to break out and have a big day.
I do
because
too.
they've been having to contain Josh Allen because you don't want to get beat by his legs. They've been having to, I think the game plan against Josh Allen was defensive line was Chris Jones go get him. Everybody else, although Frank Clark sometimes would go way past him, but was there? I got a feeling there was like, let's keep him in the pocket and the DB I bring on the blitz is the guy who's going to get the sack.
Which
Well,
was
that's
Snead,
certainly
I think,
been
in
the
one
case.
of those.
I mean, Snead has gotten the sack in 4 consecutive games. So
Yeah, I mean, they're like, hey, the guy runs a 4.35. Like, he'll get there in a hurry. I think it's a really good strategy. I think that's the most underrated part of this team is the defense in general. Is Steve Spagnuolo, is their secondary. Nobody's talking about their secondary.
Well,
how many people in this country could name a Chiefs corner?
Yeah, well, they played fantastic against the Bills.
Oh,
Yeah.
Fantastic. When they were showing those shots from behind the quarterback, it's like, who's he supposed to throw to?
Yeah. Stefan Diggs basically had no impact on the game while it was competitive.
He's got some give up in him.
Diggs?
Yeah.
I thought the Chiefs did a nice job of talking trash. Did you see Sorensen? I mean, There was the one play where Sorensen brought him down just short, and I think they ended up going for it. And Sorensen got up, and Diggs had something to say, and Sorensen didn't look at him, but he put his hands up and he just started screaming like, rah, rah. And he was clearly giving it to Diggs, but wasn't going to look his way and get a personal foul. So he just acted,
It's like when
he did that a couple of times.
It's like when a college basketball coach is clapping his hands and going, "Nice block, great block, buddy." Outstanding block when this guy gets called for a foul. He's not technically arguing with the official. He's praising his player.
I hollered at my team when a ref was holding the ball. Little league basketball, I know, but just I didn't even realize I was doing it. But like, we can press now, and so the press was coming, but they didn't have their press ready to go, and the ref's holding the ball, waiting for them to get set up. And I'm like, all right, let's go. Let's play ball. Let's play ball. Game time. Game time. Coach, you can sit down now. I'm like, oh, all right. So you are getting what I'm getting at. Come on, give us the damn ball. Yeah. What are we waiting around here for them to get set up? Come on. You're supposed to hand the ball, and off we go.
We've got pressing to do. We've got pressing issues.
Yeah, he was waiting on their press to set up, and I wanted to get up the court. Let's go. Anyway, all right, take a break. More with Danny Clinkscale, brought to you by our friends at Easton Roofing. Find them online at eastonroofing.com. No payment collected until you're 100% satisfied. Easton Roofing, integrity matters.
More of Danny's Reasonably Irreverent podcast after this.
I'm here with Joe Spiker, owner of Easton Roofing. And, Joe, there's all kinds of roofing companies in Kansas City. People see their trucks, they see their ads, they see their commercials on TV. What separates you out from the pack?
Danny, there's a lot of roofers in Kansas City that are good roofers that can put a good roof on, but we like to pride ourselves on giving you a good customer service experience. From the first time you call, you're going to get a friendly voice on the phone. We're going to let you know what's happening and when it's happening. And, the other piece is some companies are small enough to do small jobs. Some companies are big enough to do big jobs. We're right there in the middle. We can handle the little stuff. We can handle your repairs all the way up to your big commercial roofs.
So what's the best way for folks to get in touch with you at Easton Roofing?
You can find us at eastonroofing.com, or you can always call us at 913-257-5426. That's 913-257-5426.
Easton Roofing. Integrity matters.
Talking to Danny Clinkscale here. The program is brought to you by our friends at Easton Roofing. Best in the business, Easton Roofing. Angie's List Super Service Award winner. They will be happy to come in, give you a free inspection, free estimate. Might not need a new roof. A lot of companies, that's all they do. You call them, they're going to tell you need a new roof. Not Easton Roofing. They'll educate you about every possible scenario that can work for you, getting you back to business, getting you back to life faster. That's Easton Roofing. Integrity matters. Find them online at eastonroofing.com. Call them at 913-257-5426. Danny, did you see the story on your Jayhawks today?
Which story?
The one about an unnamed assistant coach, according to a judge, being, saying that he funneled money, and then you get in there and read the story, and it doesn't quite read like that, but that's what the headline says.
Oh, no, I didn't see it. I'll have to check it out.
Oh, okay. Oh, we won't worry about that one then. Yeah, check it out.
Nailed it, Danny. Thanks for coming on.
Kansas has, they have basketball issues within the season. They can wait for the hammer to fall elsewhere.
Yeah.
Not like K-State though, but whatever.
Well, which one do you want to tackle?
I think K-State is getting to the point with their performances game after game that I think he's in some peril now. I wouldn't have even said that 2 weeks ago, but you can't go out and get clobbered like that. 41-7. That's
38-5.
That's
it's even worse.
I mean, that's like a game that like your kiddie basketball, where one team's just so much better than the other that it's unfair. You can't do that.
Curtis said an 18-0 run happened on the back of a 20-5 start.
Yeah,
that's how you got to 38-5.
I mean, I know Baylor's good, but come on.
Like we have a rule: a run has to be at least 8 points, and has to at least double up the opponent's score. Like, you can't go on an 8-6 run. There's somebody we all knew who used to sit and be like, "Oh," and then Kansas went on an 8-6 run. That's not a run, okay? Right. A 12-11 run, it did not occur. That's just the natural flow of the game. But we came up with, like, all right, what's the minimum of a run? Well, that was a run on a run. I mean,
right.
20-5
and they got
is
run.
a run.
Yeah, they
followed up by 18-0. I mean,
it's like, what?
The game opened with Baylor on a 38-5 run.
I said it was. Every once in a while, I would look up and I would see scores that I would remember from famous football games. And that's not something you want to
right.
see. Oh, 34-5. Oh, so, 47-10.
At some point, you get you just have the feeling that it's a young team that has, that the coach has lost, and these are young players that he's going to have to try to coach to win, soon.
Well, and that's the thing is, like, and there doesn't appear to be a whole lot of cavalry on the way. I mean, these are largely the guys that if it's going to turn around over the next couple of years that are going to have to turn the corner with. And I'm with you. And he's talking about, he was asked about the effort. Well, they better play with effort. Like, did you watch the game, man? I mean, not only were they bad, they did not play with effort. I mean, that was abundantly clear.
Right, and then he puts himself in the position of, after the game, saying that now the Texas A&M game is the most important game of the season. Well, what if you go out and get punked in that? You just called it the most important game of the season. And this is happening every game. Okay, they showed occasional fight, but they're losing by double digits or worse every game.
First time they've allowed 100 to the same team twice in the same season since '92. No other Power 5 team has done it in the last decade.
He also compounds every negative by being his own worst enemy PR-wise.
There's no question about that.
He has no idea. You don't go out there and go, well, we haven't had a practice. Everybody had it. It's like early in the season and COVID's done this and that. I'm not making excuses. Like Curtis called it an excuse sandwich.
Yeah.
It was excuses, then I'm not making excuses. Now here's more excuses.
Right.
Like, I said, look, I agree with what he's saying. I think that team, more than any team, needs the practices. So that team is hurt the most by all these disrupted practices and everything. You still just don't say it, though, man.
No, you don't. And, especially since everybody else is dealing with this. I mean, the Texas game this week has just been called off. So, I mean,
right.
Everybody's having these issues. You can't – this is the wrong time to complain about stuff like that.
Yeah, no doubt. Danny, great stuff as always, buddy. We appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Well, you are welcome, and everybody have a great weekend.
Check out Danny, DannyClinkscale.com.
This podcast was made possible by our great sponsors like Easton Roofing, the presenting sponsor of Kansas City Profiles at the Danny Clinkscale Reasonably Irreverent podcast. Easton Roofing, where integrity matters. We hope you enjoyed the latest Danny Clinkscale Reasonably Irreverent podcast. Come back soon for something fresh and new.